Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching this. Just want to say hi to all of you first. Now, many of you are coming from my Instagram, directly from my Instagram to this video, because what happened was that I put up a small video where, actually I made that video because someone on my Facebook fan page asked me, hey Aldous, what are some conversation starters that you use personally? And I thought this was a very interesting question because it was more than one person. And then I was like, okay, you know something, I'm gonna do a video about it. Some conversation starters that I use, depending on the occasions, right, that I like to use that will engage in conversation, and then, you know, you can build a rapport, you can build bonding, and you can get to know more of that person, they'll get to know you more by using simple, but unique and interesting questions. Because here's the thing, guys, there's a principle called the opposite framework approach. It's a principle that I'm always teaching, right, especially at my seminars and workshops, where the problem is that many times when we ask questions to people, right, for example, you might ask someone, hey, so what is it that you like to do? Now, that's not a bad question. That's not a bad question at all. But it is so cliche. It is so common. Everyone in the entire world can ask that question. Everybody. And for example, let's say you go to like a party or to like a bar or like to wherever, and you're meeting someone, a guy or a girl, and you ask them, right, the cliche old questions. What do you do for a living? What do you like to do on the weekends? What's your favorite color? Like, okay, these are not bad questions because, yeah, you want to get to know them better. But they're so cliche. So if everyone keeps asking those questions, what's going to make you so different? Nothing, because you're asking the same old cliche questions as anyone else. You don't want to do that. We have to be different, especially in a world where there's so much competition and all types of aspects, right? You know, professionally, work-wise, school-wise, social-wise, and so many other aspects or many other types of industries, right? So again, there's so much competition, so you have to do the opposite. So if people are going down here, right? If everyone's going down there, am I going to go down there too? Well, of course, if there's a fire over here, I'm not going to go to where the fire is. But I think you guys are trying to understand where I'm trying to get. Like, if everyone is asking the same type of question, everyone's going down here, I'm going to go the opposite way, this way, and I'm going to ask a different type of question. Now, here's the secret. Because again, those questions are not bad. They're just so overused. You can use the same questions, but here comes the secret. The secret is you have to just reword those questions. For example, instead of asking someone, so what is it that you like to do? Again, a million times I've heard that question asked to me and other people, right? Instead, ask something else like, hey, if you had the chance and if money were not an issue and you had the opportunity to right now just do anything that you're passionate about, what would that be and why? Or if you had the chance right now to teach me something, what would that be? And if you think about it, if someone's willing to teach you something right now, this instant, is because they're really passionate about it. Correct? Or they know a lot about that certain subject, which means most of the times, or many times, 99.9%, they actually enjoy talking about that certain subject or topic. So again, you can ask the same questions, but you need to reword them, make them sound different, and when you do that, you will sound you, and the question will sound more unique, more interesting, and that person's gonna be like, wow, actually, that's a good question. And you know that your question is good when you ask it and the person has to think for a second, or they start telling you like a little story or like a little experience. Like they don't just answer the question. They actually tell you, you know something, this happened to me not you know too far ago, or this actually just happened to me last week, or something like that. You know your question is good when you actually get them to think, or when they actually got to tell you a little experience or a little story that happened to them, right? So that's the first thing I wanted to tell you guys. It's called the opposite framework approach. Don't ask the same old type of questions that anyone else could, because it doesn't make you different and you're boring, right? Be unique, go the opposite way, don't follow the crowd, okay? Now, going back, I went on a little rant there, sorry guys, which is the 4 conversation starters that I use personally, right? Now again, I don't always use them, but I really like to use these because, for many reasons, but it depends on the occasion I'm in or the environment I'm in, I'll use them. So for example, the first one is, what is the craziest, most outrageous goal you want to achieve, right? Instead of asking someone, so what's that goal you want to achieve? Or what's your number one goal? Again, it's not a bad question because you want to get to know them, right? But it's been asked so many times. So I just reworded it. I made it different. What is the most craziest, most outrageous thing or goal you want to achieve this year? Or whatever, however you want to word it. Now, you guys can use the same type of questions I'm using, or you can take the same ones I'm using and reword them the way you would feel comfortable. Again, everything I say is just like the foundation. A good foundation, and I'm giving you specifics, Now it's up to you to actually change it to your own style. That's it, okay? So going back. So then I like to ask this question because first of all, I get to know what's really important for them, or like what's deep in their hearts, or like what is that goal they want to achieve? Is it a financial goal? Is it a wealth type of goal? Is it a goal for a relationship? Like it depends. All types of people have all types of goals. I remember I was speaking to someone at this event one time, this networking event, and this guy said, well, my goal for this year is to at least talk to more than 2,000 people. Now, I think that was a cool goal, a different goal. I never heard anyone actually tell me that I wanted to talk to 2,000 people, but this guy told me it, right? And when I asked him the question, the same specific question I just said, the same way, he was like, whoa, that's a great question. In reality, it's the same question as what's your number one goal, but the way I worded it, the way everything was said was different, unique, right? That's what we're trying to go for, okay guys? Remember that. So what is the most craziest, most outrageous goal you want to achieve this year, or you just want to achieve, or again, you can reword it however you like it, okay? That's the most important part. Now, the second question I like to ask is, conversation starter, is, if you had to change your name today, what would you change your name and why? Now this question, I've seen other people ask like these types of questions, like if you had a chance to change your name, or where you're from, or your family, what would you change it to, right? These types of questions. But I chose this one specifically a while back because a lot of people don't really ask other people this type of question. This question is like more like a fun type of question, a question you could ask at parties, right? Depending on on which type of people you're speaking with at a networking event, you could probably use it too, but this is more like chit chat, small talk, getting to know more that person. And it's interesting because you actually notice that a lot of people don't actually like their names. It's funny, I'm serious. A lot of people don't like their names, and they have dream names or names like they wish they had. And then I find out, but guess what, Aruz, I would name my kid this. So a lot of times they don't like their names, and you find out why they don't like their names, right? Why? What is it? What happened? A lot of times you find out that the reason they don't like their names is because when they were younger, they were bullied in school, or people made fun of them, or they just don't like the vibe, they don't like the sound of it. And then after that, you get to find out their pet peeves or things that annoy them. Everything is a connection. Everything follows a path. Once you find out one thing, you'll find out another thing. You're just asking the right questions uniquely and make them more interesting so the person can actually open up. But of course, you don't want to be nosy. Like you have to, like, these types of questions, like you cannot just, like, as soon as you meet someone, the first 30 seconds, you ask them this question. I mean, you could do that if you're direct and bold, which I've tried it many times, and there's been many times where I've succeeded, but you don't want to do this with any type of person, especially if you just met them. You got to build a little rapport first, which, don't worry, I'll make a video on that in the future, on how you can build rapport in the first couple minutes of meeting them, right? That's very important in any type of industry or business, or networking, or socially and so forth, right? So again, you wouldn't just ask these questions out of the blue. No, you have to get to know them a little bit, because if you just ask them this question immediately, then you're going to look like a nosy person. And trust me, no one wants that. No one wants that at all. Now, as I continue, now, the third conversation starter I like to use is, if you could know the answer to one question of your future, what would it be? Now, I did something there, which I actually do in all my conversation starters too, or just overall when I'm conversing with someone. I don't overuse this technique, but I like to use it a lot. It's called the pregnant pause. So what occurs is that there are times where you meet people, right, and you talk to me, like, there's something about that person. He's so interesting, he's so unique. But now, if you replay that conversation, or if you rewind that conversation you're having with that person, yeah, you probably are talking about something unique or different, but most of the time you're not. So what makes him so unique? What makes him so interesting, so eye-catching, so inspiring? What is it? Well, it's many times it's just the way we speak. That's it. So the pregnant pause is one of those things that can help you. So I'm gonna give you guys two examples. You ready? So pretend that you and me are speaking right now. We're talking, and then I know where I say, I have a question. And what year were you born? Okay. So that was example A. Now example B. Hey, I have a question. What year were you born in? Okay, so right there. Now, there was a difference there, as you guys could tell. Right? The difference was that in the first example, I used a pause in the middle of my sentence, And the second one, I just sped through it. I just said it immediately, right? Now, I just give you guys a quick example, but if you go back and you listen to that, right? In reality, which one sounds more intriguing? Which one sounds more interesting? Well, if you're speaking and I don't know where you pause, you build that tension. You build that mystery like, oh, well, what is he going to say? Well, what is Aldo's going to say? Or what is she going to say? Or what is he going to say? Again, because you're like, let me ask you a question. When was the last time, blah, 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 you went to Africa, you went to France, or you went to the bank, right? It doesn't matter, right? But you pause, so you create that tension, you create that mystery, but instead of just speeding through it. So you see what's happening there? It's very, very interesting. Just that one small technique can make you sound more interesting, more, people are gonna wanna hear you more. You build that tension, that mystery. People wanna listen to you more. And you're not saying anything revolutionary at all, no. It's just the way you said it. Remember, many times it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. Remember that, okay? So now this third conversation starter, I love to use it because everyone wants to know about their future. Everybody. They're like, I wish I could go to the future and see what's gonna happen to me relationshiply wise, or like to my financial situation. People always want to go to the future. Everyone wants to know what's going to happen to them. That's why people are so interested when it comes to like people who can read, who can read minds, or who can read hands, or who can look into your future, which is not true. But people are intrigued because they're like, hey, who knew? This person might be able to say something that I don't know. But again, right? People are interested in the future, so I like to use this concept and ask it in a conversation and use it as a conversation starter to entice that person and to get them thinking, and to actually, little by little, they'll open up to me. They'll open up to me. Why? Because when I ask them these questions, it's about them. People love speaking about themselves. They just do. So give them that opportunity to do it by asking them interesting questions, okay? Now, the fourth conversation starter is actually a funny one. I mean, it's not hilarious at all, but it's like a corny, a goofy one, which is, do you have any good conversation starters? It's funny that a couple of people on my Facebook page asked me, again, what are some conversation starters you use personally? And this is one of them. Hey, do you have any good conversation starters? Now, when I ask a question like this, I catch people off guard, which sometimes I'm gonna admit I like doing that because it's like the element of surprise. Like they weren't expecting me to say something like that. Like, hey, do you have any good conversation starters? And many times people are like, wait, what? And they laugh, or they don't know if they should laugh. But then I'm gravitating. I'm seeing their real them, their real reaction. Are they laughing? Are they not laughing? Are they more serious? Or they didn't find it funny? Or maybe they're kind of goofy. Like when you throw in an element of surprise or a funny question or something like that, and that's when you get a real reaction. And that's when you observe. And from there on, you now know if you can take it further with that question. You can act a little bit more goofier, or do you have to be more serious, or you can tell different aspects about their personality just by asking simple but out of this like different types of questions. Again, element of surprise. You'll catch them off guard, and you'll see the real them little by little. So I like to ask this question, and there's been times where people are like, oh, actually, I do have a good conversation starter, and then they'll ask me that question, and then I'll talk, and then I'll throw the question back to them. And then little by little, we build that bond, we build that rapport, and by the end of the night, by the end of the day, by the end of the afternoon, whatever the case is or environment, we're talking, we exchange phone numbers, or we hang out later on, like good results happen. Why? Because again, I took the time to prepare a little bit in advance, and I wrote up, or I Googled some awesome conversation starters, and now I use them. I've been using this for a while already, but I'm always looking for new ones. So if you have any cool, great conversation starters, please comment and put them in the comments below. I would really appreciate it. And the best three that I see, I'll give you guys a shout out on my next video, and then I'll say the conversation starters in my video, and then I also shout out your name. Oh, you guys like that, don't you? Okay. So guys, thank you so much. I appreciate for you guys to watch. Please rewatch the video, and the little nuggets of wisdom or tips or whatever knowledge that I could personally give you, use them in your everyday lives, and you'll see huge results, massive, fantastic results. You won't regret it, okay guys? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And don't forget to follow me on Snapchat. I'm gonna put it right there on my Snapchat, because I'm always giving constantly knowledge, value, free content on how to become ultimate conversationalists, speakers, interviewees, and entrepreneurs. So don't miss it, guys. Thank you so much. Until next time.